Hey everyone, my name is Oliver. Today I wanted to show you guys how I create my templates in FL Studio and how to use them so your songs sound good from the start and so you can focus on what's really important, writing awesome music. I've been using FL Studio for the past 10 years. I started out with Fruity Loops 7 and 8 and while FL Studio has evolved a lot since then, the basic workflow is still the same if you want to work neatly and organized. Step 1. Create instrument or drum channel. Step 2. Give it a name and a color. Step 3. Link it up to a free mixer track. Step 4. Do mixer routing so the sounds get grouped to the correct bus. Now if you create small projects with a maximum of maybe 25 channels, this is fine. But if you like to create complex big projects, doing this 125 times can be quite a burden. This is where a template comes in really handy. You just load it up and all your empty channels are instantly there, hooked up with the correct mixer tracks and buses. All you have to do is replace the empty channel with a plugin or a sample and you're good to go. This makes producing music way more fun, seriously. Making small changes and variations will be much easier and your projects will be much more organized, so you can actually find what you want to change. Now with all of that out of the way, let's dive in and let's get going. Step 1. Open up a completely empty project. Go to File, New from Template, Minimal, Empty. Step 2. Think about in what order you want to add your channels and mixer tracks, what colors you want to assign them, and what groups you want to create. I always like to split things up as follows. Kick and bass is purple, drums without kicks is dark blue, instruments without bass is blue, and effects are light blue. This gives a nice clean gradient within my template. Step 3. I always start with the kick, so rename the empty channel to kick 1 and give it the corresponding color, purple in my case. But don't add it to the mixer yet. Start adding the empty channels by right-clicking the previous channel and selecting Clone. This will also clone the name and the color of the previous channel. You can now easily create multiple kick channels for layering, so you end up with kick 1, kick 2, kick 3, kick 4 and if you want, sidechain kick. Now we have the space to add all the kicks we could ever need. Let's continue with the drums. Clone the last kick channel, rename it to snare 1 and change the color to dark blue. Clone this 3 more times so you get snare 1, snare 2, snare 3 and snare 4. Now let's keep doing this for claps. For claps I use 4 channels, snare rolls and fills. I use 2 channels for this. Hi-hats. I use 4 channels, so you can get a very nice variation. Rides, I only use 1 channel. Crash, I also only use 1 channel. Percussion, I use 4 channels, so you can get some nice variation. And loops, I also use 4 channels. Now, that's all the drums we will ever need, so let's continue with instruments. Clone the last instance you created and rename it to chords 1 and give it the blue color. Keep cloning this channel until you feel you have enough. I tend to use 6, as I use many polyphonic synths for layering. Keep cloning and renaming the channels for pads. I use 2 channels for this. Arpeggios, also 2 channels. Leads, I like to use 4. Vocal chops, I use 2 channels. Ambience, also 2 channels. Tonal rhythm, I use 2 channels. For unique stuff, I use 2 channels as well. Great, now we only have basses and effects left to go. Clone the last instance again and rename it to bass 1 and change the color to dark blue. Now clone this 7 more times until you are at bass 8. We're gonna keep cloning for 808 2 channels and sub bass 2 channels as well. Now our bass group is done and we only have the effects left. Clone the last instance 1 more time and rename it to Riser 1. Change the color to light blue. Keep cloning until you have 4 riser channels, 4 down channels, 2 bass drop channels, and 2 impact channels. Awesome! All of our channels have been added and named. Step 4. Select all of the channels. Go to the mixer track, right-click track 1 and go to routing. Route select the channels starting from this track. This will instantly populate your mixer with the correct names and colors from all of the channels. Step 5. Now we can start with the routing of the mixer tracks, which means adding buses. To do this, grab an empty, unassigned mixer track and hold Alt plus the arrow keys to move it. With this, you can move the channel around, and in this case we're gonna move it all the way to the left. Remember, we have 4 channels for kicks. We are going to group these in the bus too. Let's say you want to do a small variation to all of the kicks at the same time. This will be really easy to just make a change into the bus. Along with all the other combinations such as clap plus snare, cymbals, percussion, loops, chords, pads and arps, leads, ambience plus rhythm, basses, 808s, subs, risers, downsweeps, bass drops and impacts. So that means moving and renaming 14 tracks to the correct slots. Now, if you are creating dance music, there's a big chance you want to do sidechain. But you probably don't want to link up every channel or add kickstart to every track. So we're going to create dedicated sidechain tracks for all instruments and basses. So move 2 more empty channels to the corresponding spots and rename them to instrument sidechain and bass sidechain. We want a kick plus bass bus where the kick and the bass will be merged, a bass bus which is the same without a kick, a drum bus, instrument bus and an effect bus. So that is 5 channels we are going to need to move and rename. I also used 2 pre-master tracks, which basically are the same as the master, so all the sounds get grouped to this. It is meant for filtering or adding small effects and details. Great, now our template is really starting to look good, but none of the routing has been done yet. This part is quite tricky, so pay attention. Start by unlinking everything from the master. Make sure you don't forget any, because this will lead to things sounding really weird. You can do this quickly by clicking, pressing the right arrow key and then just clicking again. This will constantly select a new channel. In this way you can unlink 100 channels really quickly. Start by linking all the kick tracks to the kick bus, but keep sidechain kick unassigned, as we never want any output from this. Keep in mind you can use the trick with the right arrow for this as well. Continue by linking all the snares, rolls and claps to the snare plus clap bus, all hi-hats, rides and crashes to the cymbal bus, all the percussion to the percussion bus and all the loops to the loop bus. Assign all chord tracks to the chord bus, add all pads and arps to the pad plus arp bus, add all leads to the lead bus, and the ambience plus rhythm tracks to the ambience plus rhythm bus. Keep doing this for the basses, 808s, subs, risers and downsweeps, and bass drops and impacts as well. Nice, a big part of your buses have been set up, but there's no sound whatsoever because nothing has been assigned to the master. Route the kick bus to the kick plus bass bus. Route the snare plus clap bus, cymbal bus, percussion bus and loop bus to the drum bus. Route the chord bus, pad plus R bus, lead bus and ambience plus rhythm bus to instrument sidechain. And route instrument sidechain to the instrument bus. Route the bass bus, 808 bus and the sub-bass bus to the bass sidechain bus. And route bass sidechain to the bass bus. Without a kick, make sure. I forgot it in the recording actually, but I will fix it later on. and route the riser plus down bus to the FX bus. And route the impacts plus bass drop bus straight to the bass plus kick bus, as we don't want any sidechain on these sounds. Now we are almost done. Route the kick plus bass bus into pre-master 1. Route the bass bus into kick plus bass bus. Route the drum bus into pre-master 1. Route the instrument bus into pre-master 1. Route the FX bus into pre-master 1. Route pre-master 1 into pre-master 2. And route pre-master 2 into the real master. Now our routing is completed. Awesome. The template is basically done now, but in the next tutorial I will show you how to add the sidechain and a bunch of other very cool stuff you can do with this template. Thanks for watching and I'll see you all later. Bye.